Welcome into the Lounge, presented by DraftKings. I'm Ryan Mink here with Clifton Brown, and we are so excited to sit down with Kyle Van Noy, a podcaster himself, but more importantly, a guy who's getting after the quarterback a lot.
Go. Yeah,
exactly. So, Kyle, I have to ask you, you're now part of the double-digit sack club.
Yes.
You got the sweatshirt from Coach Chuck Smith. Mm-hmm. Are you wearing it everywhere? Was that like what you were wearing on Christmas morning? Like you're just rocking it? I'm surprised you didn't wear it today.
I was very honored to get that. Chuck has been an awesome, positive coach for me. And when I come into the Ravens, he was an advocate for me to be here. So Chuck, was grateful to get a sweatshirt from him, but that's going in kind of the memorabilia section at the house.
Okay. All right.
Man cave,
Nice. This was a pretty sweet sweatshirt.
Yeah, it was. It was awesome. It's comfortable too. Yeah. So got it. Wore it a couple times. It's clean, and now it's in the man cave.
What did that mean to you to enter that club?
Yeah, it meant a lot. A lot of hard work. I think, it's the second year I've been able to focus on strictly pass rushing. So, just the enjoyment of all the hard work and then seeing the success from it. But I wouldn't have had the opportunity if it wasn't for the guys that I've been with up front. Matt Abike's done a great job. Travis Jones has done a great job. Adafe, Tavius, Brody, MP, those guys that are, when I'm in, those guys being able to do their job, staying in their lanes, and then the secondary holding off their guys a long time for me to be able to get a couple sacks. So It's a group effort. It's kind of like when you have an MVP or somebody goes to the Pro Bowl, you have a little a spoke in their wheel a little bit. Right. Like if you feel, you contributed to their success. So, it's been awesome. There's been a lot of players that have had success here. So it's just awesome to be part of that Ravens brotherhood, not only right now, but before me.
Yeah.
Kyle, there's been a lot of talk about you doing this at age 33.
Yeah, stop it.
Take it from somebody. Take it from somebody who knows you're not old, man.
Yeah. Right. That's what's crazy. It's like you're 33.
Yeah.
I'm 40. Cliff's what he is. We're not going to talk about it.
He's 21.
Yeah, right. He's 21. Right?
Yeah, you look good.
It's wild how just the world sees 33 in NFL years. It's like dog years. It's crazy how that's perceived as old.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm trying to be an advocate, honestly. I think more guys need to have opportunities later in their career. I think, you've seen a lot of players have success on good teams that are veterans. Yeah. Bobby Wagner is another prime example. Seattle, they've had a linebacker issue. This year he goes to Washington. He's the spokesperson. He's the veteran on defense, paired up with Jaden Daniels on offense. Like that. Yeah, you have him and Frankie Louvu, that are kind of the veterans, but Bobby's the super veteran that you need. That I think more teams should have that Udonis Haslam kind of guy that's been in your system a long time or have been in the league that you kind of have an understanding with. He knows his role. That's talked about, and I think it's just a great way for young players to see a professional because it's such a young league now where they don't know what being a professional is all about. And if you have a veteran like a Bobby Wagner or myself, or there's Calais Campbell who's down in Miami, if you have one of those guys, the young guys can see, oh, this is what it's like to be a professional. Oh, this is what you have to do to be, I'm not necessarily a Hall of Famer, but a productive player in the league. This is what it takes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You've also know what it takes to win a Super Bowl. You've been on 2 Super Bowl winning teams with the Patriots. I'm just curious. We're almost down to the last game. This team seems to be peaking the right time. Do you see that this team, what are the things you see in this team that makes you feel like, hey, this could be a Super Bowl winning team? Because as Alex, we feel that this team can do it. I'm curious, as somebody who's done it, do you see the same things and why?
Of course. I think you have the recipe for success, right? Especially in the playoffs. It's start with the quarterback. We got that. Okay, stopping the run. you got that. We've been doing a good job of that. We need to keep doing that. Then you look at, the O-line and D-line. How does that look? Okay, we're looking pretty fair there. And then you look at, all right, is that team playing complementary football during the part where it gets really serious? And I feel like we're trending towards that way. There's other teams where you could say the Chiefs, they're still the best team in the league. Nobody's knocked them off. They're still the champs. They're still the team to beat. You look at Buffalo, they're starting to play complementary football. The Chargers looking complementary football. So that's how I look at the recipe for success. Who's playing complementary football? Who's got a quarterback? Who's stopping the run, those type of things, because in January, weather comes up, and do you want to stop the run when you have Derrick Henry coming at you or a good scheme coming at you? So a lot of good teams, you could look at the NFC. You got the Eagles that are playing complementary football, the Vikings playing complementary football. So you just look at those teams and who's playing that offense, defense, special teams, how they're clicking, who's running the ball, who's stopping the run. That's kind of what I look at.
Obviously, you played a long time for the New England Patriots in their heyday, and they're a great franchise.
Yeah.
Obviously, had a ton of success.
Yeah.
Now you come here to another great franchise.
Yeah, it's been super blessed.
Yeah, I mean, back-to-back career years for you in terms of sack production. What is it about the Ravens and this program that has helped you thrive the way you have?
I think it starts with the top, right? Mr. Bouchatti, awesome owner, Mr. B. I can't say any, enough good things about him. He makes himself available. That's not everywhere I've been.
So you just hitting him up? You text him when you want to?
No, I can't. I have the opportunity to. He's left that door open, which is cool. Awesome. Yeah. My big thing to him is he's a golfer too. So I'm always like, when are we going to, when am I going to get to beat you on the course? I've heard his sons are pretty good too. So I'm kind of like, all right, like I'll beat your sons too. But
they go to dad.
Yeah. Who knows? I just like to have a good time on the course. And, he just, when it starts with that being understood that he's in charge, and then he has such a good communication line to where you have the front office like EDC, Ozzie still, Sash Brown doing a great job as president. Then you have the football side where you have John obviously holding it down, and then you just know everything's in place and you know who's in charge and you know how it works that in that regards, and it makes it comfortable going to work versus when those things aren't aligned, then it's like you have all these different moving doors, right? And this organization is top to bottom first class, have nothing but great things to say about it. They've been, treating me like royalty, which is awesome. And then, also the fan base, got to mention them too in this because they're a huge part of everything. They're the ones that, get to come to the game, spend their money, and cheer us on. And, they've been showing me a lot of love too. I've told her, and I'll tell it again, like it's awesome going to the grocery store and people are like, let's go, they're hyped. And, I feel honored and proud to represent Baltimore.
That's cool. We talked a little bit about your age and I did dig up some stats on this. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I agree with you that hey, people should recognize that veteran players can be very productive into their 30s and whatnot. Yeah. With that said, what you're doing is still pretty rare, right? Yeah. There's only 11 players that have been 33 years old or older who have had more sacks in a season that you did, that you have this season. In NFL history, only 11 guys. So still pretty special what you're doing right now. How have you individually been able to do it and keep this high level of play?
Yeah. That's a good question. I think it's, couple things I'd like to get off my chest is I feel like it's never been a resurrection personally. I think that narrative's been thrown out. Yes, I've had career years here, but I've always been a productive player.
Right.
That goes back to when I got out of Detroit and was actually put on a football field. It was like, bam, I hit the ground running. Whether it was in Miami, it wasn't, the expectation I wanted down there, but still was productive. Whether it was with the Chargers, still productive. So I want that narrative gone. Yeah. The other one too is to me, age age is just a number to me. I think if you take care of your body, you eat the right way, you work out the right way, and you have that football stamina, I think you can do anything.
Yeah.
And then just what I've done, I think I've just surrounded myself with a lot of awesome people, not a bunch of yes people, people that, like my wife, who's been my biggest cheerleader. She's the reason, she's probably the reason why I'm still playing, because there's been a couple of times where I'm over this, and she's like, no, you have more to do. You don't want to regret being done. She's the reason why I'm here with the Ravens. That's for sure.
Why is that?
She just pushed me to keep playing. I was to the point where it was, early in the season, I'm like, well, I feel like I should be on a team right now. This is kind of crazy.
Last year, right?
Yeah. And she was like, well, let's just keep working out, keep doing your thing. You're ready. Like, you work out in the backyard, and, your son's been watching. Just keep going. So, then the call came, and it was just like, hit the ground running. Yeah. She's like, I told you.
Wives love to say that, right?
Yeah. And she can.
And they're right.
She can. Yep. She can. So, I've been very blessed to have her as, my sidekick, my co-pilot throughout my entire NFL career. And, as a team, we've done pretty well.
Yeah.
Speaking of family, I noticed your son was in the locker room in Houston.
Yeah, let's go.
After the game. How cool is that you can share what you're doing this year with him, your family, in ways that maybe 10 years ago you could not?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think for me, it's just the memories, right? When you go through life, when you really look at it, life's about memories and creating memories and that everlasting impact. I just want to be able to do that for him. That he got to, later in life, he's 5, and I'm gonna play again next year. Let's get that out now.
Love it.
He'll be 6, being around, understanding, he calls Lamar Jackson Amar Jackson. Amar Jackson. That's his favorite player. But just being able to be in that setting, be around Uncle Mark Andrews, and being able to go up to him on the football field and say, "Good job, Uncle Mark." It's awesome.
That is very cool. What we talk about the production that you've had, and I think it's a great point that you bring up. Like, over your career, you've kind of evolved to the role that you've been assigned, right?
Yeah.
Like, in New England, you had a lot of coverage responsibilities, and you built a reputation as one of the best coverage outside linebackers in the league.
Yeah.
Getting picks and pass deflections and all that stuff. And now you come here, and like you said, you've been able to focus on, hey, get after the quarterback, right? And pass rush. Can you talk about the work that you've done with Chuck and how you two have worked together to kind of unlock that aspect of your game to take it to another level in that way?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it started with when I was transitioning or wanting to transition, because I felt like it's time in my career where I'm done trying to cover these 21, 22, 23-year-old running backs who are a lot faster
in
than
the
me.
Open field.
When it comes down to, like, especially in previous employment up north, we won't say their name anymore, but I was guarding a lot of running backs then, and we played a lot of man coverage. And so it was kind of like, all right, now I'm getting they're trying to single me out. Good friend, I'll tell you a quick story. Good friend of mine, Fitzmagic, when he's playing for the Jets, motioned out CJ Spiller, and he's looking at me, I'm looking at him, I'm like, oh, he's coming at me. I backed up like to 12 yards, and CJ Spiller still ran by me, of course, but ended up being incomplete pass, and I'm acting like a DB, like no,
no flag,
no flags on seatbelt, all that good stuff. But I was just done doing that, and it was like I'm ready to rush the passer. And then when I was in Los Angeles, I went there to be kind of the 3-man crew with Joey and K-Mac. They had an injury off the ball. They saw I've done that in the past. They were like, hey, Kenneth Murray might be ready, let's throw you in there. And so I was like, I did all that work to pass rush, ended up unfortunately, Joey goes down. I go back to rushing, and then I was able to showcase that I could rush. I think that gained the attention of the Ravens. And then that offseason, I worked with a personal coach that I still work with, working on the craft of rushing, and then getting here with Chuck Smith, who they dedicate time for, was able to just work with him and then just get down in a rhythm, and just, it's still new for me. So I still like have that joy like a young kid in the league, because I'm learning so much and having a good time doing it.
Yeah. You strike me as one of these guys that like is probably good at every sport that you play. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
thank you.
You know, and you're not like the biggest guy necessarily. You're not like, don't have as much maybe burst as Odafe, right? Like, but like you just get the job done consistently.
There we go.
With like and by a variety of means. Like sometimes like this last sack, you were setting the pick for Namdi, and then you end up splitting the sack with him. And it was gracious of you, by the way, to grant him that half sack. I saw that clip on the sideline.
Yeah.
So like,
that's funny.
What is it about you, if you had to pinpoint like just your knack for getting the job done? Yeah.
When I first got here, I told Mike Mack. He didn't believe me at the time. I was like, I'm not your first pick. I'm not your last pick, but I'm going to be your best pick. And I truly believe that. I've always said to myself, I'm built different, and nobody's going to tell me no. And if you do, I'm going to end up showing you. And then it's like, oh, like, you know, like he did tell us, but like we didn't believe him, or you know, I'm not the fastest, strongest, or biggest. I'm just a football player, and I've always said that. I'm like, I don't care how big you are, don't care how fast or strong. Like at the end of the day, I know football, and just my mindset with that. I just think that's just how I go. A little cut from the old school.
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
God, this defense is going from, you know, having some struggles early to over the last 6-7 weeks, maybe being the best defense in the NFL. As a vet, I'm just curious, like I know there were some frank conversations with coaches, players, that you guys played a part in turning things around. What do you think clicked with you guys, and what part did you play in kind of helping that turnaround, you think?
That's a good question. I think it was a little hand in for everybody, right? Personally, like something that I did was I got the group together. That was one of the things I did. I won't say like what we were talked about or anything, but it was just time. I felt like it was just time to get everybody together, you know, have a deep breath for a sec. And then, you know, the changes that they made in the secondary helped. And then, you know, just continuing to believe in Zio's plan and adjust. Like, I think where teams go wrong, not wrong, or I just think teams every year is different. You got to always adjust, right? You can't just, you know, there's very few places that can just be the same every year. Like the league changes, adapts so fast. If you look at all of the top defenses, you know, over the course of time, even this place, from the D coordinators of Dean Pease when he started, like Bellick, I want to say that correct. Brian Billick, to, you know, Wink, to Mike Mack, to Zio. They've changed over the course. Yes, their foundation pieces are still there. That core message is still there, but they've adapted over time. And I think that's what we were doing, is we were adapting into a new guy at the helm. They adapted from Wink to Mike Mack, and now we've gone from Mike Mack to Zio, and it's adapted over time. Now, other organizations, to me, don't do that as successful, but this place is number one of that being successful, because the standard and the message is always, it's set way before myself walking through the doors. It's just a way of Raven football is defense.
Well, how did you see Zach handle all that? Because, you know, he was under a lot of heat early on. And then, you know, talking with the players and working with you, how did you see him handle all that?
Like a pro. Like somebody you would want. Somebody who cares about their job, cares about winning, cares about doing the things the right way. I think he's done a awesome job. It's like people are funny. It's like the only way up for him was down, right? Because you come in and you're replacing the number one defense, and it's like, oh, the expectations is like, oh, you're just gonna do it over again, and it's like, no, you got to do it your own way and your own, like, it's just different, and you have the same pieces, it's just a different year, and I think that wasn't in our cards to just come out right away and just be dominant. It was a work in progress, and it's been awesome. And I think we've all grown, and the players have grown a lot. A lot of players have stepped up in leadership roles, and we got a lot of defenders playing again through this entire season at a high level. I'm
curious about one guy that we talk about, not the biggest, not the strongest necessarily, Ardarius Washington.
Yeah,
the
my favorite player.
Oh, really? Yeah. So, what is it about Ardarius that you love so much?
Man, I've told him since I've gotten here, you're my favorite player. Like, he really defines the word football, like just a football player, where he's just got a knack of playing football, like you just said. Like that's because I see myself in him. I see that chip on his shoulder. I see a good football player. I see somebody who just loves football, has a knack for it, just makes plays. Don't matter where you put him. Nickel, you could put him at corner. I'm sure if you put him at nose tackle, he would legit find a way.
Crawl under the legs.
He would do whatever it took to get the ball or make the tackle. That's just the type of attitude he has, and that's the type of players I like to play with.
It's awesome.
You been around at least two GOATs, with Brady and now Lamar.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, you've seen both of them up close. Lamar, I've heard you talk about his development as a leader, just what you're seeing in him now, the way he's growing. What are the things he's doing that you say, hey, he's got it?
Yeah. Oof. He's just got, I don't know how you can't even put it into words. It's just like, once you've been around, that was the other thing too. I've been around really good quarterbacks. Stafford, he's won a Super Bowl, arguably Hall of Famer. His stats are insane. The first to everything at young ages. I think Justin Herbert's an incredible quarterback. I mean, he's playing really well this year. And then Lamar, he's just in a different category. He's electric with the football, and I think the thing that is impressive most about him is he's just got the it factor. You can't pinpoint exactly what it is. It's just he's just that dude, and it's awesome to be on his team. I would hate to go against him. It would be a headache, but the way he's just handling business this year, the way he's not satisfied with anything, I think that's what drives him to be great is, he's pissed off when he throws a pick, even though maybe it wasn't his fault. He's saying, that's my fault. I need to deliver a better football. I need to be better. And when you have somebody like that, you got a man on a mission, and you want to be a part of that mission and do everything you can to hold up your end of the bargain.
Nice. Last question for me. What happened to the sack? I really like that one.
Did?
I did.
That was just an inside joke for the week.
Okay.
Yeah, that was just an inside joke with the fellas. That was good.
Who started it? Did somebody do that first?
It was a Jabo. I'm gonna give him credit for that. Okay. We did it during the week, like messing around, and then it kind of grew into its own little thing. Okay. And it would have been awesome to keep it up, but we kind of were like, let's not go crazy with that because we don't want to have to, now discuss what that meant.
Right. Okay. All right, we'll just let that one slide. That one goes.
Yeah.
Well, this has been really a treat. Thank you so much. And listeners, make sure you go check out Kyle's podcast on Yahoo Sports. That's right. McCoy and Van Noy. Check that out. Awesome podcast.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you for listening to The Lounge. We are coming to you from the SeatGeek studio. We also want our listeners to know that this week, the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the Baltimore Ravens, has a limited time offer you won't want to miss. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code FLOCK. New customers can get a deposit bonus of up to $1,000 only at DraftKings Sportsbook with promo code FLOCK. Please play responsibly, and for help, visit marylandgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER. You must be 21 or older to play. So just great stuff from Kyle, and he's having a great season. I mean, he's on another one of these runs. It's kind of crazy, his season so far. He had the orbital eye fracture in the first game of the year in Kansas City, and then he came back and he had 6 sacks in 3 games, went on a crazy run despite that injury, and now he's on another one of these runs. He has 4.5 sacks in his past 4 games played, so he's on a hot streak right now, and this pass rush as a whole is getting cranked up too.
Kyle, he's a baller to me. I mean, he's just one of those guys, like you said, might not be the best athlete on the field, but he's an incredibly smart player to me too. He knows what's happening a lot of times before the ball is snapped. Very rarely see him take a step in the wrong direction. So when you have those things, you can make plays. And I think going into the playoffs, having a vet guy like that who not only helps himself, but can tell other guys like Odafe and, you have a Roquan and guys he works with on defense, they're always working together. He's one of those guys you want because he just sees the game so well.
Yeah, he's just a guy you want on your team, point blank. And, he was a free agent this past offseason. There's a lot of time spent talking about, do the Ravens bring back Jadeveon Clowney or, is it Van Noy or whatnot? And Clowney ends up signing with the Panthers back kind of near where he grew up a little bit closer to home, and the Ravens inked Kyle Van Noy to a 2-year deal, and boy, has that move worked out. I mean, that was just a great move. And it was also good to hear Kyle say, hey, I'm playing out these 2 years on this contract. This is not my final year. So I was also happy to hear that.
Yeah. Why wouldn't he?
Exactly.
But doing a great job with a great team. And I do think he gets extra juice from being with the Ravens, a true contender. At that stage of your career, you don't want to be in a place, where this time of year, you don't have anything team-wise to play for. He loves playing here. The Ravens love having him. It's a great marriage.
Yep, absolutely. Well, thank you for listening. As always, you can reach us at the lounge at ravens.nfl.net. Garrett will be back later this week, and we'll break down all you need to be looking forward to in this upcoming game against the Cleveland Browns. Thank you very much.